Welcome to today's Hooray, it's Thursday. Hope you've all had a fabulous week. I know that I have. It's been a very busy one, but I'm glad to be able to catch up with you here today. I'm Courtney. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia, and you'll see all of my links posted in the description of the video, and so that you can join us. You can join us at Stampin' Up, and you can also shop through the online store. So I thought I'd just get that little tidbit out of the way. What I want to play with today, I will actually just hit the go live button on my Instagram and we'll see how we go. So what I wanted to play with today is Embossing Resist. I'm going to take you back to basics a little bit. We've got some beautiful ink colors, colors. We've got some beautiful in colors as well, but we've got some beautiful ink colors, and I really like the Brights collection. And I haven't played with it for a while, so I thought I'd add a couple of neutrals and I'd show you how to do some embossing resist. Now I do have Layers of Beauty on the screen in front of on the table in front of me, so I'll just pop that up there so you can see it. Layers of Beauty is a really pretty stamp. It's found in the annual catalogue. It comes as a bundle. So in the bundle there is the stamp set, the dies, and there's actually a mask set. Now I'm not using the masks today, so I have left them over on the other table so that, you know, I don't get confused and all that sort of stuff. But I just wanted to say that when you buy it as a bundle, you're looking at $99.75. That's Australian. And so if you just add one little extra thing, you're going to get a free celebration item at the moment. So I'm also playing with these are called opal rounds, quite little. They're just a pretty little bit of bling. We do have some dark blue in there, and we've got some gold and like a white pearly color. So that pearly color will bring up any other color. You can also color these with your alcohol markers if you've got any. Okay, so what we're doing is I've got a selection of bright colored inks, but I've got a base color of our pecan pie. So a lot of you that know me and know me well will actually know that this is one of my favorite. Like, I do like the browns as a neutral. They just work so nicely as far as I'm concerned. So, all right, I'll just cut this up. We'll just trim. So I've got an A4 sheet in front of me. I've just cut it in half. If you would like to score, you can score. You're scoring at 10.5. That'll give you just enough there. But what I want to do is I'm actually going to layer this. So we're going to do a couple of different types of embossing. There's two different types of embossing. We've got when we use our embossing powders, so heat embossing. We've got our embossing when we use our embossing folders, and that's a dry embossing. Okay, so what I'm looking at now is I'm just trimming this down so it's a little bit smaller than my front, and I'm going to dry emboss that, and I'm going to do heat embossing on my card. So for heat embossing, you will need a heat tool in your stash. It's always a good thing to have. Now I have one of the older heat embossing tools, works perfectly. I don't believe in buying things that you don't need, so I'm not going to replace it at the moment because I don't need to. Now you will notice that my blade is getting a little bit blunt. All right, we do have spare blades for our trimmer. I just haven't changed mine yet, but see how it's got that edge on it there? If you get your bone folder and you just roll that along that edge, that will smooth that out very nicely, as you can see. All right, it's gone. Okay, so you can just do that. The bone folder is a very handy tool, and they're quite inexpensive. So they are made from real bone, which is essentially a waste product of the the beef industry, but they are made from real bone. And the reason why I know they're made from real bone is because when I engrave them, because as you'll know, I've been practicing on this one, or as you can see, I've been practicing on this one, they smell like real bone. Let me just say. I will also do this here. So when we look at dry embossing, we're embossing with embossing folder. I haven't decided which embossing folder I'm going to use, but I bought two over with me. So if you want to vote on an embossing folder, I've got my favorite. I've got my tile embossing folder, and I've got the new crocheted one. They're both actually Yeah, I think they are. They're both 3D, but this one feels so much thicker. So if you'd like to see the crochet embossing folder done, then we'll use that. If you'd like me to see me use the tile one, just pop in the comments. If you're on YouTube, I'm sorry I don't have it up, so I can't see what comments you guys are placing, but if you're on my Facebook page or on Instagram, you can vote. Just hit me with a comment and see which one that we're going to use. So I'll just pop them up there so that you can make a decision. Oh, let's make it so it's not fuzzy. There we go. So that piece of pecan pie is going to get cut in that. Okay, I've got my envelope and I've got numerous pieces of basic white. Okay, we do have very vanilla. You can use that if you prefer, but I'm going to use basic white today. And I will be, oh, we're very wobbly. It's very breezy here. You'd like me to use the crochet one, Laurie? Not a problem. That's one vote for crochet one. Okay. I am going to cut this piece down. I'll wait until after I've done my technique on it, and the reason being is then I can pick where I want to cut it. Okay, so with Embossing Resist, and this really pretty stamp set. Okay, so it's a really big image. The picture on here is shown at 85%, just so you know, and these are the dies. So that will be cut, that can be cut out with that one big die. So you can see how big that stamped image is going to be. And we've got heaps of little leaves and a smaller one. This smaller one will actually cut that big flower straight out of the middle of that. All right. Okay. And there is a little tag, but I'm thinking that I potentially won't be using said little tag today. Okay, so see this here is that whopping great big stamp. How lovely is that? So you will need, for this one, you will need your whopper of I believe it's F. Yep, F block. Now, when you're putting it onto the block, my suggestion is that you put it onto your glass mat, not paper, anything but paper. Yep, hi Chris, a crochet one for you too. Pop it onto your glass mat. Your silicone mat will do any surface that's not paper, essentially, because you want that stamp to be flat. All right, and that is the easiest way to get it onto your block. All right, and so that there's no bubbles, because this is a really big stamp. You don't want any bubbles, otherwise it will be really, you'll actually get quite a weird shape stamp out of it. Okay, so there is also these little Tigi flowers and extra leaves that you can use as well. And I haven't decided if we're going to use them, but I will place them on a block. And I really like this one here as well. I will place them on a block just in case. Now, the stamp set has Happy Anniversary and Grateful for You. God bless, you make my heart smile. If you're not making a card for one of those events, you do have quite a lot of options when it comes to other happy birthdays or in my thoughts. So Poise Penny has a nice best happy birthday wishes. That's a really nice one. You could probably actually do Emboss Resist with this one as well. Unbounded Love, look at that happy birthday. Isn't that just beautiful? And so is the With Sympathy in there. This is Keeping Tabs. Again, we've got a With Sympathy and a happy birthday. There's even a congratulations. So this one here, With You in Mind, we played with this quite a lot. My class girls have all got this one because that's a great happy birthday. Nice big font. I love it when there's two different fonts. All right, so I haven't decided what we're going to use yet because it's just going to be a matter of working out where we're at. Okay, so for Emboss Resist, you will need your Versamark. You will need your embossing powder, which I thought I brought over to the table. I know I brought it over to the table, but it didn't get all the way here. And the other thing that I've got is a rag. Okay, with the reason why I've got a rag is so that I can actually clean up my embossing. Now, you can use white, you can use clear. It depends on what you want to do, and you can use black. Okay, essentially the area that we're going to emboss is going to resist the ink. Okay, which is why it gets its name. Being such a great big image, this is going to work out. This image will actually take up quite a bit of space, and then it's up to us actually what we do with it. So the first things that we're going to do, I brought over the white because my clear is running out. You can get the Stampin' Up embossing inks, embossing powders. They come in clear, white and black, or the metallics, which are really nice as well. So I bought white over. I am working on white cardstock. If I'd used the clear, it would have done the same job. Okay, and you would normally use clear for it, but yeah, I don't have enough of it. Okay, so with what I find with nice big stamps is I like to ink my stamps up in this direction. Okay, the reason why I do it is it makes it easier to make sure that I've got an even coverage. And because with Versamark, or with most stamps, you only get one go, you want to make sure you get a nice lot of ink over that. Okay, so just give it a good couple of taps with that Versamark over there. Versamark in my house lives in that direction, okay, just so that way the ink stays on the surface of our ink pad. It doesn't dry very fast, but because it's I'd say it's not water-based, but it's also not alcohol-based ink. It's a very unusual ink. I'm just going to pop this down here in this corner. All right, now the ladies in my craft class will actually have, they've got I don't know what you want to call it. Hi Michelle, how you going? A smudger. It's but it's a knob with a base that has felt on it. If you've got your brayer, you can use your brayer and you can roll it along here. If you've got it up in that direction and you put it on there to make sure there's good ink coverage, you can roll your brayer along your image as well. Oh, hi Pauline, everybody's here today. How cool is that? Right, so that's a way to get really good ink coverage. What we're going to do is I'm going to peel this off. You will see nothing. Okay, I'm telling you now, you can see nothing on there. I can't either, so I'm a bit nervous. But let's do some white embossing ink on here, and let's see that that's actually worked. All right, I've got a really nice breeze happening here, which is going to throw my embossing powder absolutely everywhere. So let's go like this. This is why I love these containers. I can just come in and, but yeah, I've got embossing powder flying everywhere. Okay. Because there is an absolutely beautiful breeze. Okay, now if you've got the embossing tray and kit and everything like that, you can use that, but it comes with a really cool paintbrush. It's not normally easily stained, but I've used it for painting as well because it's a nice little paintbrush. But then you can come along and you can get off all these extra bits that I've got hanging around on here that I can now see. Give it a bit of a tap. Okay, so that's going to emboss in our white today. Now you should be able to, oh, you're here too, Belinda. Oh, that's a cool surprise. That's a bit of fun. Now I can't seem to see my tweezers. The tweezers that come with the embossing kit are fabulous. They're ones that are squeezed to open, and they've developed some legs, so we're going to keep moving on without them. Now I do like that this, yeah, where's my bummer? The glass mat, and I didn't check to see if it was still available, but the glass mat is tempered glass, which means you can use your heat tool on it and it's not going to crack and it's not going to do anything like that. You can put sit your cup of tea on it and it's going to behave, not like some of my plastic mats. So I'm just going to heat emboss this. I don't know that you'll be able to hear me over it, so I am going to just turn the machine on and stop talking. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it do its thing, but I'll show it closer in a minute. Smells glorious. Now, I believe that I've got all of that. If you get the newer Stampin' Up heat tool, it actually, where the button is, it will have 2 heat settings. So it will have one that's not as hot, whereas this one is on or off. So can you see that? There you go. How's that? It's such a pretty delicate image. Now, there's extra space there. So I can use the top up here to do some stamping, but I've also got all these little guys. So if I wanted to, which I will be doing, I can add a little bit of extra dimension, so extra bits. And the way you do that is the same way that you did the first bit, is now that I can see where that is, I can then go in and I can add extra bits in areas that I think needs it. And that will actually lengthen my image a little bit. Okay, and I'll just put that. This one's just a little leaf. It'll just make this image that little bit bigger and take up a little bit more room on my page. But it will also make it so that I've got a little, it's not just the same as everybody else's. So bringing back in my embossing powder, because there wasn't enough mess of it all floating around the table already from the wind. There's a few things that wind is not fun to play with. Now, there shouldn't be anything up in this corner. And it's a matter of playing, where did I put everything? I thought there was one there. Oh, yeah, there it is. And there was one down here. That's the hard bit, is remembering where you put everything. And I'm pretty sure I put one over here. Yeah, so I'll just tap all that off. Yep, looking good. And this time, where is the last one? And you can heat emboss your envelope as well if you want, the same as you can dry emboss it. So we'll just go again with the heat tool. Okay, so I've just got a little bit of extra there. All right. Now, what I brought over with me, I brought over my pecan pie and early espresso because I was unsure as to what colours I was going to have a play with. But we've got pumpkin pie, daffodil delight, coastal cabana, lemon lime twist, some granny apple green, and some flirty flamingo. Now, if you don't have those colours, you've just joined, you may find that you've only got markers. So here, not that one, the one all the way on the bottom, this suite here is our Brights collection. If you don't have the ink pads and you've only got markers, all you need is a block or your piece of glass, and then you can use whatever tools you like, be it a dauber or a, what are they called, blending brush, to make it so that you've got some colour on here. Okay, so whatever colour you want, if you're joining at the moment, you get 2 of these packets. You can pick whichever one you want, and you can have 20 colours. So that's a win if you ask me. But I brought over the ink pads because I thought I could. Now I've got numerous of these guys. I've got big ones, I've got the little ones. Some people have got one for every colour. I can tell you now I don't. So depending on what colour we're going to use will depend on which brush I'm going to use, because the colour will, oh, no, here's the coastal cabana one. Okay, the color will reinvigorate from last time. Now to clean these guys, when it's a really nice hot sunny day and you're washing your dark colors like your blacks, pop them into a bra bag and shove them through the washing machine. The other option is you can spray them with some alcohol and some water and just keep rubbing them until the color comes out. The choice is yours. But if it's a beautiful hot day, don't leave them out too long because the handles will get a bit melted and they will end up in a funny shape. But if you just got them laying on a table, they should be right. So I'm thinking we're going to need a little bit of green, a bit of orange, maybe some yellow and some Flirty Flamingo. Okay, so I might start with some Flirty Flamingo. And because I'm going to use some Daffodil Delight, I might use this one here. If you're not sure how it's going to look and you're deciding where you're going to put it, you can use a piece of scrap to decide. So I'm going to just do a little bit of colour over here. Okay. And a little bit of colour here over my great big roses. All right. And you can see them starting to come out a bit. All right, let's bring in a little bit of a green colour. This is Granny Apple Green. See how it goes funny when you first start it and it's a bit grainy? You can either start it off on your glass mat or you can do what I did and put a bit of it on the paper. Okay. Just to bring some colour in over here. There's some nice big leaves up in this area. Okay, and we're going to need, I think, some of our yellow. You can always put more ink on, you cannot take it off. Just be aware of that. Probably should have used a little one for this because I want it around in that daff. Okay, and there's another daffodil there. And there's another little daffodil there. All right, so depending on how much colour you want on it, depends on what you're going to do with it. Okay, and I'm going to put a bit more colour on this part. Nice and subtle, just a little bit of colour. Okay, just to make it a little bit pretty. All right, see what I mean? Just a little bit of colour. Okay, and let's pop a little bit more Granny Apple Green on here, just where our leaves are. Just pretty. What do you think? It's looking rather nice actually, if I do say so myself. Okay, and it's just a pretty background. Now, you'll see how my white's not looking very white at the minute, is it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to huff on it, and then I'm going to come along and I'm going to wipe off that colour. This is just what my rag's for. Okay. Because you will get some ink that sticks onto that white embossing powder or white embossing. Now see how much brighter that is? All right, looks pretty good, doesn't it? Okay, so that's called Embossing Resist. All right, I'm just going to pop that aside. Now we're going to do a little bit of dry embossing. So far, we've had 2 for the crocheted one. So the crocheted one is the winner. All right, for those that arrived late to the party, we voted on which embossing folder we're going to use, and we voted for the crochet one. Okay, so just open my cut and emboss machine. Okay, so this is a dynamic 3D one, which means we need base number 1, our embossing folder with our edge in first. This one is, you need to be square. It's not one that you'll get away with being crooked on. Okay, so just be conscious of that when you put it in your space. Okay, and don't pop it in there crooked. And then you need plate number 4. Send that through here. Okay. And that there is our embossing folder. Now there's a couple of things that we can do to this. Okay, it's deboss side, emboss side. All right, the emboss side is the side with your logo. Couple of things that you can do with this piece if you want to make it stand out. You can add some color. I've got my brayer and a very dried up cleaner there. Where's my wet one? I had a wet one here. Better have left it on the other table too. Nope, here it is. Here's one I prepared earlier. This is the chamois that comes with the glass mat. The reason why I'm cleaning this, it's got some ink on it from when I was playing on the weekend. And I want to emboss this with clear. Did you all get a cup of tea when you started? Mine's just arrived. But it's going to be too hot to drink. So if you just pop it there for me, honey, that would be great. Now, if you want to add a little bit of embossing to, a bit of wet or heat embossing to your folder, you have 2 options. You can get your Versamark, you can scrape it along it. You can get your Versamark, you can scrape it along your ink pad, along the inside of your folder, or you can add it to the brayer. So if you're adding it to the brayer, it's a matter of making sure that you've got the brayer soaked in Versamark, or coloured ink, whichever takes your fancy. And then it's just a matter of going along and adding that colour. Okay, now the Versamark will make it so that it gets a little bit darker. Okay, it won't, the brayer won't flatten out your image, but the Versamark will stick to this. Okay, now if you wanted to, you could then add, if you had clear on the table, you could add some clear embossing powder and heat emboss it, or you could just leave it with that on it. Okay, it just brings it up a little bit better. Okay, you could also do tone on tone and add pecan pie to it if you wanted to, but see how it's made it stand out a lot more. Okay, so that will just make it so that that doesn't look like our actual card. Okay, this piece here, I am going to decrease the side of it because it's all hidden. All right, so let's bring my trimmer back in. And I really want to keep that white space up there. Okay, I know I'm taking off a lot of my image. That's about a bit more than ½ centimetre, so we'll go down now. And then it's just a matter of trimming it until you're happy with the size. Oh, that was a big noise, wasn't it? The cut and emboss plates just fell off, that's all. No biggie. I will take a little bit off the top here. Okay, and that's just decreased the size of that piece quite considerably, just so that you can actually see all the work that you've done underneath, because there's no point in doing all that work and not being able to see it. All right, because that is then going to sit on here. Okay, and it's just so pretty. All right, so what else are we going to do? We need a sentiment on here. We need something else on here. If you were just using this stamp set, you could pop your happy anniversary up here, or your grateful for you up here if you wanted to. You can add a piece of, you know how I cut the strips off the end? You can add one of those. You can add a circle. Lots of different options here. There's a strip. So let's find a happy birthday that's going to fit on that. Okay, this wants something, actually, this one would make a really nice in my thoughts, wouldn't it? So essentially it would make a nice, oh, I haven't used this one yet. No, let's not put that together. Okay. All right, so this one has with sympathy. Feel better soon. Actually, that's a very good one. Let's do feel better soon. I think I need to make a feel better soon one. Okay. So where are you hiding in here? I don't know if you've noticed, they're in the same spot. All right. And it's just a matter of finding the one that you want. There's with sympathy. The thing is, they're back to front. Feel better soon. Feel better soon's actually like really, really skinny and long. It's really, really skinny and long. Yeah, but I still want it. I want to feel better soon. So that's what we're going to pull out. There it is. This has got insides and outside sentiments. Okay, so if you're wanting to put something on the top, you can put something at the top, like on the front, and you've got sentiments that will go with the inside. So this one here will be have you are loved on the inside. All right, so I just need a block that is big enough for my sentiment. Photopolymer will bend, it will curve, so just be aware of that. So if you put it on your flat surface, you can then stick your block on it and that will be straight. Okay, I could stick this up there quite nicely, but I'm not going to. I'm going to add a little bit of extra detail to that front, so I'm going to pop it on here. Now, I do have some pieces that are like long and skinny that I trimmed off before, or I can get a new piece, but I'm going to do it in my pecan pie colour, just to bring that pecan pie colour to the top. All right, so 30, 60, 10. So my 60% colour is actually going to be the pecan pie colour, so we need a bit more of it. Okay, and I feel better soon is there like so. It's a new stamp set. That was dodgy as all they come. Let's just clean it off and see if that makes it a bit better, because it's the ink's actually getting like a little bally thing happening. That's better. Okay, and because that's so nice and skinny, we're going to have to trim it down. Okay, so these sentiments would be great on your scraps. I could have used that tiny little piece. Look, would have fit on there. Perfect. I wonder if I can get it to work. If this doesn't, I'll put it on there. Ready? Beautiful. Okay. And we're going to need a strip of this as well. Now, yes, I know it's a little bit smaller, but I'll show you what I'm going to do with it. Okay, so this one here, grab your snips, which are on the table, hidden under something perfectly. In this case, my dimensionals and my block. You have a choice. You can do an angle, you can do a flag, or you can do straight. Sometimes an angle is just really nice. Okay, and yes, I think this needs some fiber. I also think it needs some gems. Okay, So I will be doing that. But first things first, you can see there what I've done. Now, if you don't have ribbon that matches, there's a couple of things that you can do. This is another technique that you will all really like. And this is like turning, you get like a faux ribbon, okay? And all I'm doing is just rolling this piece of cardstock over and over my bone folder. Why am I doing that? It's going to soften those fibers that are underneath there between the layers of the paper, and I'm going to be able to get 2 layers of paper, which essentially is going to give me one that looks fluffy. So I don't need ribbon in this color because I have cardstock in it. Okay, and on it you'll see it's starting to split. Okay, I'll just go back the other way because I don't necessarily want it to be all curly. But it's getting softer and softer, and it's starting to split, which will give us that nice fluffy inside. Here it is, look, see? Okay, so it's given me this fluffy inside, which when I put that on here, it looks like a ribbon. Okay, so, but what I want to do, it's a little bit thicker, I think. I'm hoping it's a little bit thicker than my piece of, where's my tear tape? Oh, good golly gosh, I've hidden it. I have to. I had the roll of tear tape sitting right here. And I thought, yep, got everything. And I've stuck something on it, so now I can't see it. All right, that's fine. Instead of using tear tape, I'm going to put along a little sticky line of glue. Okay. And because of where I want this to land, I'm just going to use my, ooh, that's going to be too big, my bone folder as a ruler. And because it's coming out, the glue's coming out so fast, I'm going to use a piece of paper as a fine tip nib. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. This is just a little bit of our multi-purpose glue stuck on a piece of paper. It needs to go bigger than that piece there. I'm just slowly making a line of it all the way over to here. All right, and I'm going to give us a fake ribbon. Okay, so I've made a line of it, and now I'm going to put my paper down, and I'm going to crunch it up as we go. All right, just so that it looks like a bit of crunched up paper. Crunched up ribbon is what I'm actually after. All right, just for a little bit something different. Hi Nari, how you going? Oh, Sammy's watching too, is he, Cheryl? Hey Sam. Remember when Romper Room used to come on and you'd like to hear everybody's, like, you'd like to hear your name called out? I put my, oh no, my flag's on the right side. It's just a bit of paper's not. Okay, so I will grab my take your pick tool with the pointy end and put it on. Now I know that I've got that on 2 sides, so I'm just going to pop these on here. These are the small dimensionals. I don't have a tendency to use them very often. I really do prefer the bigger ones, but for this sort of length, this is what we need. And I'm just wondering, yeah, I can cut that bit off. Just didn't want it that long. Right. So it's like a little fake ribbon. Okie dokie. Oh, that's good. Alrighty, so we'll just take these off. No, it doesn't want to play today. I need the pokier one. And come on. All right. And that's going to go sitting above there. Okay. That looks cool. All right. I will be just putting on this one with some glue. I should have just put that glue on the back of here because it's just pouring out of it. Oops, got it everywhere. I keep my glue upside down in one of these. So it hangs out like that, which makes it so that it stays ready to go. Okay. Just pop that one on there. And you'll see that's been ages and that colour hasn't disappeared from that Versamark being on there. It's just like having an oil stain on it, for almost wanting a better word. All right. If you wanted a little bit more fibre, there is on the table. Oh, look, naughty. I did bring over some real fibre because I like real fibre, but it's developed some leaks. Like everything else. That's okay. Your linen thread would look lovely on this. Okay, just saying. So I'm going to pop this on now with some adhesive. And then it's a matter of depending on how you want to, you can tiz it up a little bit more with some extra layers by putting on, adding some, cutting up some of the leaves from this stamp set and the dies. You could add extra layers doing that. If you don't have the coloured cardstock and you want to keep it a similar sort of look to it, you can also see how we've done this. You could cut leaves out of this. Okay, so you don't have to have every colour cardstock, you don't have to have every colour ink, but there are ways around things. All right, but that just looks really pretty like so. Now the other thing that I think will make this look really pretty as well is if you do have the markers, there's some things that, and I've done it a few times over recently, I really love flicking at stuff like this. This is your pecan pie ink, not ink, marker. I should have done it before I put the sentiment on, but you can just go ahead and just age it a little bit by flicking some ink at it. And it is best if you don't put it on the sentiment. Okay. Right, that just adds a little bit of pretty, see? Just ages it a little bit. All right. And because we've got them here and we want a little bit of bling, because it's always nice to get a little bit of bling, these opal rounds, now I haven't done the inside, I haven't done the envelope, but we'll get to them. These little opal rounds, I would suggest when you put it on there, the gold ones are going to be too gold, so I'd suggest going with these pale clearish ones. Okay, so just under protest, grab some of those. If you want an odd number, okay, 3, 5, 7. Just an odd number. It just is more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Okay, now we need to do our inside and our envelope. So depending on what you want to do with your envelope today, you can do something very similar to the front. You can just colour the front. Or have you ever embossed the back? Now, you know those things I dropped a minute ago? Let's go get them. Even if it's going in the mailbox, okay, you can actually emboss with dry embossing. With your embossing folder, you can emboss your envelope. Okay, and let me show you how. Okay, we don't want to emboss the whole envelope. We only want to emboss the flap. Now, where did my embossing folder go? I'll drop it as well. I just found the twine though. Okay. And the embossing folder's now developed legs. Oh, golly. I've got the tile one. Nope. It's not under my chair, but I've just seen it. Okay. See, all I needed to do was stand up. All right. To emboss your envelope back, see how it's a bit bigger? All right. What you need to do is you need to pop it in like so. So what I've got is envelope, embossing folder, and this is open. I've already got one, thank you. Okay, and so that is just going to go through like so. Same deal with your, it's going to be a little bit firmer. All right, so just be aware of that. But it still will work perfect. Oh, the suspense is killing you all, isn't it? Right. And look at that. Now my envelope has a pretty embossed texture on it. Okay. And you could colour that if you wished to match the inside of your card. All right. Or to match your card. Okay. So just, this is, I didn't, as you saw, I didn't add any extra ink to that. It's just the leftover ink from that we had on there from before. And that's just given a very pale, subtle pinky colour. Okay. If you want to add more, you can, and we will once I found the ink pot. Just make that darker up the top there. And a bit darker here. I'm just essentially going around the outer edges and around the front. Okay. I'm going to come down the side here a little bit with some colour. And I will do that on my inside piece as well. So my inside piece I'm going to do a little bit different to what I did the front. That's all right. Okay. And then I'm going to stamp it with a little bit of our pecan pie. Okay, now this is going to go absolutely everywhere. So I'm going to do both my inside and my envelope at the same time. Let's move it up a bit so that you can actually see. And that's the pecan pie, and where's my brayer? I'll just, oops, just give this a bit of a roll. Okay, and now I'll just give this a bit of a clean. Rightio. So that's going to be the inside of my card, all ready to go in here. And if you wanted to, which I do advise, let's make everything a bit more matchy-matchy. We'll just flick this a little bit as well. Okay. Before I pop this in, I need my inside sentiment. Where are they? I'm just going to put "You Are Loved" in here, if I can find it. There it is. Take that one off. Stick that one on. Pecan pie open again. And not in the middle, not up the top. Forgot to clean it because it's a brand new stamp. Try again. Ah, that looks better. All right, nice pretty sentiment down there. Okay, if anyone's doing monochrome cards, that would actually make a nice combination as well. Pop some ink on this. Okay. And "You Are Loved." And I hope you feel better soon. There we go. How's that? Today's card with some embossing resist using our beautiful stamp set from the Layers of Beauty. All right. Didn't need the dies or the masks this time, but they come beautifully as part of a bundle, which if you're interested, you can add to a kit. Now, Stampin' Up does have a lovely joining promotion happening at the moment. I'm more than happy to welcome extra people into my team. We'd love to have you. There's currently 8 of us hanging out together. I do run classes at the end. Thank you, ladies. I do run classes at the end of every month, and I do have a retreat coming up. So watch this space for next classes that are being held. Retreat has a cut-off date by tomorrow. I need numbers, deposits, etc. to make sure that I've got all of your goodies here for you. So if you're interested in coming and crafting with us here on the beautiful Central Coast, you are most welcome. Just get in touch. All right, there's always room for more. It was good to see everybody. I will catch up with you all later. Toodaloo.